How did the battle against evil continue, and who would dare to face the malevolent forces once more? In this video, we'll answer those bone-chilling questions as we dive into the supernatural world of The Nun 2. So grab your crucifix, light some candles, and join us on this terrifying journey. In 1956, in Tarascon, France, a young boy named Jacques is sent by Father Noret to bring wine to the church. In the cellar, Jacques hears a noise from the dark chamber and goes to investigate. A bottle suddenly breaks, frightening Jacques, who tells Noret something is there. After hearing commotion in the church, Noret and Jacques go inside to investigate. Noret declares he is monitoring them no matter who they are. Clutching the priest's rosary, Jacques watches in horror as Noret is lifted into the air, set on fire and burnt to death by an unseen evil force. After that, we visit Sister Irene, who now leads a solitary existence in Italy. Deborah causes fresh problems every day. The Mother Superior informs her and she even refuses to go to confession. Irene then visits Sister Deborah. Then we encounter Maurice, a French boarding school employee who has become friends with Sophie, a young Irish girl, a teacher, and Kate, Sophie's mother. Later, Sophie presents him a friendship bracelet that she had particularly designed for him. However, a girl steals the bracelet and begins making fun of Sophie. When Maurice requests her to return the bracelet, she responds that she won't because he is only a servant. Later, a delivery girl brings goods to the boarding school. After storing the items in the storeroom, she is on her way back when she hears some odd noises. When she checks inside, she notices Maurice acting abnormally. When she asks him if he's okay, he glances at her unexpectedly, which causes her to become terrified. She then runs into the demon nun, who makes her try to flee out of terror, but the door shuts and the nun breaks her neck to death. Irene is astonished to see Maurice there when she comes down after she departs after saying this. He begs her to save him and transforms into a demon, at which point Irene abruptly awakens. Cardinal meets her the following day and informs her that some unfortunate occurrences have occurred. In a town in Hungary, a 90-year-old nun shot herself while standing on the steps of a church. He explains to her that the demon is traveling into Europe from the west according to the pattern, but its origins are connected to Ramona. When she asks if they spoke to Father Burke, the cardinal replies that he has passed away and that she is the only one left who has dealt with the devil, which is why the church wants her to look into the matter. Irene claims she won't go through with it because she almost passed away at St. Carter. Cardinal responds that she performed a miracle there and the church needs another miracle. Sister Deborah has now joined Irene as she journeys to Tarascon without getting much permission. When Irene confronts her and inquires as to her motivation, she responds that she wants to believe in miracles, but finds it hard to do, so after hearing a priest claim that they converted it wine into Jesus' blood. When a madame forbade them from going to the abandoned church, Sophie's friends find a reason to bring her there. They inform her that they will play a game called Defy the Devil once they are inside. Now that Sophie is focused on a picture in front, the three girls leave her there alone. When Sophie eventually realizes this, she tries to leave but is prevented from doing so by the girls, who have locked her inside. When Sophie asks them to open the door, she hears a disturbance behind her and notices a statue that is draped in white. Only then does Maurice open the door as the statue begins to move closer to her and she catches a glimpse of the nun. Maurice asks her what happened as she exits the chapel in fear. As he asks the females if they find it humorous, they all become frightened and flee the area. Later, Irene and Deborah arrive in Tarascon. Irene feels the devil's presence there, and as the church door opens, Jacques approaches her. Only then does Deborah inquire about her well-being when he gives her a burned rosary. When they get to the Father Noret's room, Irene asks if a boy was present that night. The child affirms that he did see everything, but his mother forbids him from discussing it with anyone. Whether anyone else was in the church at that time, Irene queries her. She responds by saying that there was a helper present who left that day following the accident. He was from Romania, where people refer to him as Frenchie. Deborah questions her about Frenchie after they both exit the chapel, and she responds that his name is Maurice and that he served as their tour guide at St. Carter. He returned to save her when Satan overcame her and took possession of her. She understands that the demon is using Maurice to carry out all of these actions, which is how he has survived. Sophie follows her mother up the stairs, where she runs into the evil nun, who flings crows her way before vanishes. As nuns reappear in front of Sophie as she descends the stairs out of fear, Kate and other students arrive, and Sophie notices nuns form on the wall. When Irene and Deborah later go to the hotel where they have a reservation, the front desk clerk informs them that their name is not on the list. While Irene and Deborah are outside, a boy stops to tie his shoelaces as some children run by. Irene recognizes him as Jacques and approaches him to introduce herself and explain that she is there to assist on behalf of the church. She inquires as to whether he carried a rosary that evening. He responds that he snatched it because he was so terrified and that it belonged to Father Noret. The kids don't come back until after Jacques leaves with them, and when Irene chases after them, they all vanish, shocking her. After that, those magazines' pages begin spinning on their own, creating an image of none on them. Irene is startled by this and hears noises coming from behind, but she's unable to see anyone. As she turns around and approaches the figure, the demonic nun suddenly assaults her, sending her into a vision of a guy tearing out a nun's eyes. She then notices the same nun standing in front of her, holding a package, and as her eyes glitter, we can see Irene lying there helplessly. Deborah now queries Irene about what transpired the previous evening when she awakens the next morning. She's informed by Irene that she had a vision and now understands what the devil desires. He is using Maurice only to pursue that desire, and once he does, he will kill the man. The Jacques visits Deborah while she was comatose and gave her a rosary, according to Deborah. Irene examines it and claims that, although she can't recall where she has seen this mark before, Deborah claims to have noticed it on a picture of one of the demon's victims and believes a connection exists. In the meantime, Kate discovers Madame's corpse in the church and is horrified to see it. When Kate informs Maurice that Sophie has not been located after the police have removed Madame's body, he tells her not to worry because he will find Sophie. He now finds Sophie after spending some time looking for her and sits down with her to chat with her. Irene and Deborah travel to a monastery to find the relic of St. Lucia's eyes, which a demon wants to regain its powers. At a boarding school, the demon possesses Irene's boyfriend Maurice. Irene orders the demon to leave Maurice's body, then knocks him unconscious. In the chapel, a mosaic goat's eyes glows red, pointing to where the relic is buried. Deborah finds a frightened girl and saves her from the demonic goat. Maurice throws Kate aside, then attacks Irene, causing her to drop the relic. Sophie takes it and flees to the bell tower with Maurice chasing her. The tower collapses, but Sophie survives. Irene finds Sophie with the relic. Maurice attacks again, but is weakened by the relic. He begs Irene to stop, then falls seemingly dead. However, he takes the relic, burning his hand, and the demon regains his powers. The demonic nun and goat attack the girls. The nun strangles Deborah and sets Irene on fire, but she is unharmed, being a St. Lucia descendant. Irene hears Sophie scream and rushes to save her from Maurice, who hesitates killing her. Irene and Deborah pray, turning wine to Jesus' blood. This defeats the demon nun and goat, sending them back to hell. And that's a wrap on our recap of The Nun 2. If you enjoyed this video and want more horror movie recaps, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also be sure to give us a thumbs up if you found this recap informative and entertaining. Your support means the world to us.